Hey, what's up? This is Jason Drone, and I'm your host today. As you already know, I have someone very, very special for you. I know him as a humble, caring, genuine soul that's been around for the last 2 decades, about making a huge difference in people's lives all over the world. I can't even begin to express how grateful I am to him for doing what he does, for being an example, a role model, someone who definitely walks the talk, who's made it from nothing and made something amazing out of his life. A guy with so many names. From the guy, the coach, the fixer, alien, the architect, a wizard, and God knows how else they call him. I call him a ninja coach, as I just haven't seen anything like this before, like what he does. I also call him that because I'd like to think that we're close friends and that I get to call him by his first name. And since he has a major background in martial arts, I figured it might score me a few points there. But seriously, guys, who else can walk in, have a really quick chat with you, and within mere minutes, literally your problems, your lifelong pains, your emotional burdens, your self-limiting beliefs, they just melt away permanently. I don't know how many people in the world can produce such results, but I've seen this man in action, and I'm super, super excited to be on this call today, together with everybody else on the call. For a coach that gets paid $5,000 per hour for his time, I'm very grateful for the opportunity he so graciously accepted so that we get to pick his brain today.
Well, thank you for such a great welcoming intro. I feel at home already. And hello to everyone on this call. My name is Robert Simic, and Jason called me in as he said some of his people needed a brain surgery, and I'm only guy that does it over the phone like this. So here we are, hey? So I suggest we get right into it. Who's first for the brain surgery? Do we have any volunteers? All joking aside, I'm sending a heartwarming hello and a big welcome hug to everyone on this call. And Jason, thanks for having me, hey?
You're so welcome. So, Rob, I asked you a few questions that seem to be burning questions for most of my people, and the main issue around the subject of life coaching today. What's happening globally with this career option? What are the trends? And probably most importantly, to help me answer the question of how do I choose the right coaching course for me, you know what I mean. If I'm buying a car, I can shop around for prices and get quotes and deals on the same car model. But when it comes to the coaching industry, like you said to me before, it's a minefield out there. As the industry isn't regulated, there are no real standards of any kind, and people in general are doing whatever they want. So I did what I always do. I find an expert on the subject, and I usually get them on a call like this. So I understand you've made a few slides for this call, and you'll share with us your thinking and demystify many things in the process, after which I trust we'll make some time for an open Q&A session, right?
That's right, Jason. Time is tight for most people, and we have lots to cover here. So let's get right into it, okay? Here's what I have for you today. Let me just start these slides. Okay. Here we go. All right. So the title is How to Become an Awesome Life Coach Without Spending Your Money and Years on Outdated and Irrelevant Stuff. Stuff is a technical term here, okay? So I'm going to teach you this by showing you what life coaching really is, why 88% of all life coaches fail today, what matters today and what doesn't. So that you can, instead of spending months of researching the wrong stuff, get instant clarity, choose the right path for you, grow with the light-hearted people, and get everything that you need to get results with your clients. All right? So just a quick intro here so you know who's talking. You already know that I've been called different names. I just have to add the ninja coach. Hey, Jason. So I'm also a founder of Robert Simic Coaching Institute. I'm an accomplished celebrity and expert in the field of making a lasting impact and transforming people's lives. I'm driven by my heart and passion for empowering people and making a real, lasting difference in our world. So here's what you learned during this presentation. My personal journey from a no-name, jobless guy to a global inspiration. What is life coaching today, what it used to be, and what an amazing opportunity this is for all of us. What is the number one reason of why most life coaches end up broke at the end? You learn why most life coaches cannot help their clients achieve the necessary change and how to become a change expert instead. You learn a new way to do what you love while having a lucrative business at the same time. All right? So why is this important to you now? Most of what you learned about life coaching or consulting clients is probably dead wrong. It's far too easy to make bad choices and, follow the wrong people. Being a life coach without true transformative skills is actually wronging your clients. Making surface changes for your clients without addressing the root causes for their troubles will actually set them back in life. I will also show you now the difference that makes all the difference. I will help you get a feel of how lasting change is created and what needs to be done. I will teach you a simple formula that will help you gain a much deeper understanding of your mind, yourself, and the results that you're having in your own life. You will also learn the secrets of successful life coaches, people that manage to change their own lives and thus help others truly transform theirs. Okay? Are you guys interested? Well, you should be, as long as this information is relevant to you and your needs, yeah? So, is this for you? If you're a fellow human being that wants to become a life coach, this is for you. If you have other people always running to you for advice already, this is for you. If you want to make good money by doing what you're passionate about, this is for you. If you're interested in experiencing a heart-centered quantum growth, this is for you. All right? If you want to become an authority in your field, this is for you. If you want to have freedom and contribute to the world, this is for you. If you find yourself dying in a corporate enslavement perhaps and wish to be your own boss, work on your own schedule, have more family time, this is for you. If you're seeking to create a more meaningful, inspiring, self-fulfilling career, this is for you. If you're afraid of causing damage because you're not qualified, this is for you because you're going to discover a complete, fail-proof way of helping people heal their past burdens, overcome present obstacles, change their behaviors, so that they would always experience tremendous value, personal benefit, and growth in your interactions with them. And by the way, you will first be the one to heal yourself as you study to become such a powerful coach, and you will have all the qualifications you could possibly need to do this kind of work. Now, I hope you can see yourself in some of those points, and before we continue, let's go over some house rules real quick. As I do my best to always also tell you who this is not for, okay? So, this is not for get-rich-quick seekers, all right? It's not for dishonest, uncaring people. No manipulators interested only in their own gain. No people that are all talk and never action, okay? No blamers that don't want to take responsibility for their own lives. This is not for dabblers. You also need to know that my results aren't remotely typical, okay? Because most new life coaches will not make any real success with it whatsoever. Because most life coaching courses do not actually teach or, have the know-how in creating a much-needed change. Clients come for change, they want and expect change, and yet that's just not what traditional life coaching actually does. For you to be successful as a life coach, you absolutely have to have the skills, the know-how in helping them create lasting changes. You also have to be willing to work on your own personal limitations and insist on continuously growing. All right? So let me make a quick confession, if I may. All right? Yes, it's easy for me because I have an advantage over most. I already have a big name in the industry and I have raving fans and clients that wish to stay with me forever. Okay? So it's easy for me to be a successful life coach. All right? But there are things that you probably don't know about me. All right? Let's have a look at some. See, I had no opportunity to study after school. I had to leave my home country after war due to poor economic situation and a rather bad-looking future. All right? In my 20s, I moved to Mykonos Island in Greece, where I had to wash cars in a rent-a-car office just to make ends meet. I worked night shifts as a manual laborer in Germany. I moved to a remote South Africa, and as soon as I created a secured income in corporate, I got retrenched. All right? Retrenched is a fancy word for getting fired without any benefits, by the way. All right? I bought every course out there, mostly on how to make money online, working from home type of opportunities. I lost my car and the house, the one that I was paying for, until money ran out. In essence, I was bankrupt, sad, and alone more often than I'd like to remember, okay? And then I hit my rock bottom. I had thoughts of giving up and even taking my own life. I lived in disappointment and considered myself a failure. I blamed the world and everything around me. I never did crime though, other than unto myself as I robbed myself of dignity and replaced it with self-pity. Alright? And then my turning point came. Despite the pain I was in, hope came out of nowhere. I bought an NLP business opportunity and studied in Las Vegas. I got certified as an NLPer and a coach, then came home with yet another big hope. My mission was to make money. I did what I could and I got some paying clients, all right? But the work I was doing, nobody prepared me for. It had far-reaching positive effects deep inside of my being. As my clients transformed, so did I, and I kept on growing with them. I studied proven masters, not just in the coaching field, but also in the field of marketing and business. I studied people that made huge impact for other people and made a lot of money, even though they came from financially poor backgrounds, like myself. My role models had to be ultra successful and outside of selling get-rich schemes online, schemes, often outside of make money schemes altogether. I was looking for something meaningful, something spiritual fulfilling as well. I studied anyone that I could buy into and ended up being coached and mentored by the biggest names and gurus of my time, all right? I kept working on myself and applying the strategies that were much missing for me initially. And my journey changed for good. I found that making deep, long-lasting change is rather easy when you have the right strategies. I found that with the knowledge and tools that we have available today, creating a life of my dreams is rather simple. And I find that the only way to not make this work is to not do it at all. Okay? If you were just to apply a few simple steps, you'd have your life deeply transformed and everything changes automatically. I became internally inspired, self-motivated, and I became jobless. My job turned into a calling, and today I spend my time doing what I love and empowering the world, transforming people's lives, and most of all, having fun doing it. Today, I live an inspired life, doing what I love. I get paid what I command. I work when I want to. I travel when I choose to. I have quality time for my wife and my kids. I am free. And I'm beyond passionate in helping people reach that level of fulfillment, whatever it is for them. All right? So as you can see, my path was not the smoothest, but I honestly believe that if I could do it, coming from nowhere really and with nothing, then anybody could do it too. Of course, you ought to have some drive and passion, commitment to create the life that you desired, right? I wish we could actually all have a real talk here. But technically and time-wise, apparently that would be quite a challenge. So I was told by Jason to just keep on going. So guys, if you'd humor me, I'll talk about money just for a moment. As for some people on this call, that must be a rather important subject as well, okay? I mean, we all must be here because we are driven by our hearts and love contributing to other people. We all come from a place of love and deep caring for the well-being of our planet, never mind just the people, right? And I still insist that without being compensated for your time, for your service to the world, your practice probably won't last, and there goes your vehicle to meaningfully contribute onwards in this way. So let's see the financial side of it for a brief slide or two, okay? So how about this industry called life coaching? Where is it going? Is it here to stay? Has it reached its peak already? Is it declining? What's going on? So coaching and consulting is massive today. All right? It's the second fastest growing industry in the world. It has huge income potential. Annually, coaching and consulting earns more than $100 billion. Phenomenal growth is expected in the next 5 years and many more to come. All right? So, why coaching equals high profits? See, as a coach running your business like that, you have low overheads. You don't have endless teams and staffs and managers and the like to manage. You have very low overheads. It can be just as well as a one-man show, or it could be, perhaps you could have an assistant or a virtual assistant even, like many do. All right? It has minimal fixed costs, meaning that if you even need an office, it would really be just around a very minimal setup for you to be running your business. It has high-quality service and high-quality products attached to this business. All right? So, why coaching is your answer? Well, it gives you recurring monthly income. It's predictable and stable high income. It's very fast. It gives you all the freedom you could need. It's high profit to low overhead and low fixed cost. No product creation required whatsoever. It's a very quick market entry, low stress and low tech, all right? You get to work with happy clients, and it's something that's rather easy to sell, I believe, all right? So what are the global coaching trends? See, scientific research on coaching is on the rise, proving a scientific basis for coaching results. Psychology and psychotherapy industries are intruding on the field of coaching. Neuroscience may be overtaking psychology as a primary resource of information on how the mind works. Coaching skills are becoming widespread amongst workers who manage others. With high unemployment expected to continue at least throughout this year, thousands continue to enter this high growth field. All right? So this means coaching and consulting are very sellable because of an extraordinary amount of need and its immediate benefits for clients. It's very profitable because of its low expenses. It's easy and quick to enter the market. It's stable and recurring. But so many newbies do it all wrong. They think they will watch 3 online videos, tick 4 boxes and get their certificates mailed to them, which will make them a life coach. Some embark on the 5 years of studying life coaching before they ever get to start coaching and help someone with what they already know. Some think that they don't need just the certification, but also need a ton of accreditation as well, and how otherwise they're not good enough yet. All right? Some don't see how their own personal development has a direct impact on their coaching ability and the extent of the help that they can provide for their clients. Some think law of attraction will handle it all for them, all right? And although I wouldn't dare mocking the law of attraction, I think most of these people are missing the point. As an example, they focus on the right stuff, they ask the right questions, they're in the right frequency, aligned with what they want. And then they are presented with the very thing they ask for, but they fail to take action and take it. Imagine that. The thing they only hoped for, that they dreamt about, is right in front of their nose, and yet they think themselves into paralysis and take no action towards their desire. They don't reach out and claim it. But hey, we all do the best we can with what we've got, right? So the secret is that your client does not care about your qualifications and accreditations. They care that you can solve their problem. To be successful, you only need to know how to actually help them. World has changed today. How many people with strong qualifications are on the street today, not able to make a living? People just don't care about you in this context, okay? They are the ones in pain and they want someone to put an end to it. Can you help me, is what they ask, not what diplomas you have, right? Another secret is that many therapists are losing clients to life coaches, as they are even trying to pass a law where only they can attend such a training. Imagine that. What does it tell you though? It means that people and the whole world has changed. We live in instant societies, instant food, instant massage, instant coffee, instant gratification, instant everything. People want results. They don't want years of therapy, do they? And coincidentally, I'm also results driven, and I also only want to work with people that want results, right? Those looking for years of therapy and just talking about it must go to a therapist then, and not to me, all right? So, bottom line, I've done it and I know what it takes. I've done it from nothing and I built a very successful career, all right? I taught many others and they are doing it. You can do this too, all right? So, there you have it. Coaching is certainly here to stay, and it's actually one of the fastest growing industries in the world. In other words, while there is more competition, that's granted, there is abundantly more demand for it as people's awareness keeps going into it. I had to get clients when no one even heard of life coaching, and today it's the most common term that just about everyone understands, right? Now, let me go over the most important slide here with you, as this is the difference that makes all the difference, so I hope you're paying attention here, okay? First, I'll show you what traditional life coaching is, what a life coach actually does with clients, and then I'll expand on that subject and show you a difference between an ordinary life coach and how far things can actually go for those who are invested in maximum growth and tools for permanent change. All right? So, let's begin. Let's start from the beginning. The R on my slide represents the word results. We all have results in our lives, and most people would like to change some of their results, yes? While people would think that to us life coaches, everybody comes with a presenting problem of some sort. That's not entirely true. If it was, I would call it a P, for a problem. But I call it a result. Because we often have clients that don't really have a problem, you see. They have a result that they are not entirely happy with, a result in life, in any area of their life that they wish to change something, okay? I'm yet to meet a client who says, my life is great, please let's not change anything. I'm sure there are people in this world living those lives, but they just don't come to me then, right? At least they don't come to me during these brief stages of their life, okay? You see, I think we are all wired for growth, and life is a constant stream of learning and changing, really. We find different ways to stretch ourselves so we can continue experience the sense of growing and living, really. Because everyone knows what happens when we stop growing, right? We start dying. It's just how nature works. If we are not growing, we are dying. So we tend to find different ways for growing. Some people stretch themselves emotionally, spiritually, through their careers, relationships. Some grow in size, okay? Some grow in their mind. All sorts of different vehicles to grow and not die, okay? So here's the thing. Whether they see it as a problem or as a result, it's something that our clients want to change. Remember that. It can be a health issue, it can be anything else. Some sort of pain, physical or emotional, spiritual, it doesn't really matter. Maybe they have just reached a plateau of some sort in their business and they're seeking for someone to help them break through their personal business barriers and take things to the next level that they desire, right? So an R here stands for a result, whatever that may be for you. Your bank account, your relationship, your health, whatever it is, it's just a result in your life, okay? All right, so now, watch this. Long before life coaching came to be, there was a whole coaching industry already in place. We have coaches of all sorts out there, from sports to just about anything else. And all of these coaches, including life coaches of today, share this one core understanding. It sounds like this. All our results are caused by the sum total of our behavior. Everything you have ever done combined with everything that you haven't done caused the results that you're having today. All right? So here comes the B, and it stands for all of our behavior. All right? Now, that may sound a bit heavy for now, so let me elaborate still. Say a golf coach shows up to help you with your swing, all right? Say your result from swinging was that your balls end up in the wrong place, okay? You wing that bat and whoosh, ball ends up in the bush, all right? That's an undesired result, and you go to a golf coach to help you change that result, yeah? So that you get that ball go wherever you wanted it to go, okay? So what would a good golf coach tell you? He'll probably say, don't worry, it's not your fault. It's probably the wind, the tides, the moon, the calendar days, the energies of the planet. Is that what he would say? No, that's not what he would say. He doesn't even have to have that part of the conversation about who or what is causing your balls to end up in the bush. You know it's you. You know it's your behavior. Remember what I said earlier on. All our results are caused by the sum total of our behavior. Everything that you did combined with everything that you didn't do caused the results that you are creating. Okay? There's no such thing as I did nothing today. Yes, you did. You did something. You were watching telly or whatever. You were doing something and you weren't doing something else that would, of course, bring about different results in your life. Simple, right? So what we are really discussing here is a simple cause and effect observation. So like I said, B here stands for behavior. Sum total of what we did in life combined with what we didn't do created the results that we are having today in our lives. I can give you many other examples, but it should be obvious that it's truly your behavior, your physical doing, but also your decisions you made so far. all of your behavior combined, including the decisions you never made yet, brought the results in your life today. Okay? So, a good golf coach would say, hey buddy, it's your posture that needs a correction, your breathing, your focus perhaps, and things like that. These things need to be like so and so instead, and you'll get that ball going into the direction you want it to go. Yes? So, a golf coach would provide some guidance and direction. You'd stop blaming the ball, the bat, the wind, the luck, and just about any other factor outside of yourself. And you'd own that result, you'd take the responsibility for that result in your life, and you tweak your behavior to create a different result. Yes? Okay, now, of course, some people will go with that notion rather easily, as in, I know it's me that needs to change the way I go about things. Dear coach, please help me with that, right? While others may insist on playing the blame game, and they find it hard to take full responsibility for their results. And in reality, things are very simple. This is not your fault. It's only your result, all right? You have an opportunity to own it, learn from it, and therefore change it. Do things differently from now on. Or, of course, you have a choice to disown it and blame something outside of yourself and put on a hat of the victimhood mentality and play that game. One choice feels inspiring, brings hope and empowers you to grow and make some changes in life, and the other feels horrible and robs you of having any chance to make anything better at all. So, most clients, one way or the other, find it rather empowering and, like I said, hope shows up. They get it that if they change their behavior, they will get different results. I think it was Einstein that said it's the definition of insanity. People are doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results. That's insane, right? We need to change our behavior to get different results, okay? So once the life coach explains this and teaches it in a way that clients would find it easy to go with it, something interesting happens. A very first level of empowerment happens and hope shows up. They realize that they're not stuck, they haven't been dealt those cards in life, they haven't been cursed and no matter what I do, things are always bad. They realize that they just haven't found the right strategy, the right behavior that would produce the desired results yet. So they get to start dreaming again. They allow themselves to dream and a felt, wonderful sensation shows up in their body. Their energy levels go higher, they feel inspired and they decide to do something different from there on. So most life coaching methodologies and approaches operate in this space. They all know that it's behavior that needs to change, and they all know that clients always have a say, that they could change the results in their lives if they just get themselves to do things differently, right? Where they vary, different life coaching schools amongst each other is in the actual framework of what happens after that empowering step. In general, they have their own different but very good quality questions that they get to ask their clients to think about, to elaborate on. They help their clients in that process find clarity, direction, which in general turns into a clear path ahead. It turns into having an inspired client, the one that dares to dream again, that refuses to settle for less, and with all that clarity, in general, some goals are set and clients goes on with this newfound focus and agenda, creating different results, right? And for anyone wanting to be a life coach, this sounds wonderful, doesn't it? This is a story of just about any life coach out there. This is what all life coaches do on some level in their own little way. And when I speak to people about that in this way, they all get inspired and tell me something along the lines of, yes, Robert, this is what I want to do. As they find deep sense of purpose and inner fulfillment, inspiration and motivation in helping people in this way, okay? Something I sure understand as I've been hooked on it myself for decades now, all right? And here comes a major intersection in your choices available. If that is all you want to do, then any life coach training should do you good. Honestly, I mean any life coach training whatsoever. Even those online ones where you watch 6 videos, tick 4 boxes, and you get your certifications mailed to you next day. If that is all you want to do, you're good to go with just about any one of them, all right? But I would imagine that, since you are here, you'd want to learn more. If there was more to learn about this topic, wouldn't you? Well, what else is there anyway? Why would you even need anything else? Why would you need more than that, right? Well, let's see. Something that most life coaches simply don't even know, and they really should, in my opinion anyway, alright? Is that over 95% of all our behavior is habitual. Habitual, I mean on autopilot, automatic, unconscious if you will. Call it any way you like. Science showed us long time ago that all of us, human beings, the way our nervous systems are designed, we have some conscious input and influence, and we learn and teach our bodies what is what in this world, what means what, how what works, and once learned, our bodies take it for granted and rightfully feels as if it already knows that. Think about all the things you ever learned so far. The way you tie your shoelaces, it used to be quite a challenge replicating what someone was teaching you how to do, right? Well, today, you do it in a second with no thinking or conscious effort at all, right? It's because it's already learned, you see. And all you need to do is to trigger the behavior and voila, your body just does the needed, alright? Same goes for the way you drive a car. Your body is driving a car nowadays, I dare saying unconsciously. It used to involve very much effort while you were learning to drive a car, wasn't it? All those things to pay attention to, from changing the gears, yes, I'm that old, to the pedal, to the mirrors, and now God knows what you're doing with your mind while your body is driving. Have you ever arrived via your usual route, your daily commune, and when it was time to switch off the engine, you kind of woke up out of the driving trance and in a way, for a second perhaps wondered, how did you get there? As in, I don't remember the last traffic light. I'm sure you're relating to this example on some level. It's not like you really don't know how you got there, but just the feeling is that you weren't really there, right? I'm sure you're relating to this example on some level, don't you? The fact is, we are acting and behaving unconsciously for over 95% of our day. Stimuli and response, not that different to animals, okay? But you do have the 5% for your conscious input, a window of time, an opportunity for you to think, evaluate your life, make new decisions, change the course your life is heading at, right? Because what happens if you don't get involved? Well, body does what it already knows, what it's used to, what's familiar, what already works, regardless of how much pain you may actually be in. It's the illusion of the comfort zone at play, okay? So, now, you already know this probably, or if you didn't, now you do because you can relate to it. The issue is that what a normal life coach is kind of saying to his or her clients is not complete. Far from it. While it's absolutely inspiring and amazing really that they do for a human being. They empower them, they inspire them, and clients get hope and clarity and set some goals. Now, I use that word war, metaphorically, alright, to make a point. It's a war between the 95% of the known and seemingly comfortable versus the 5% of, hey, we're changing things around here. While change is certainly possible in any circumstances, those 5% voting for change within you need to be like 5 heroes in order to win that war. Why do I say that? Well, let me ask you this. Is it possible to change our behavior, our habits? Is it possible? The answer is clearly yes, it's possible to change. And how easy is to change your habits? That's the real question. How easy is to stick with a new diet, a new gym contract you just signed up for 2 years in advance? Your change of career, you change for just about anything. Or let me ask you an easier question. How difficult is to change old habits when most of them have become a part of your own identity? You see, this is where most life coaching fails flat on its bum. Most life coaches are not even aware of this fact, and they unknowingly, bless their hearts, send their clients into such inner war. A war that sadly most people will lose. People can end up in an even worse state than what they were in prior to seeing a life coach because they dare to dream again. Think about this. They stopped blaming the world and they took life in their own hands. And now that they failed, They cannot even blame anyone else. So this was a problem for me as a normal life coach. Mind you, none ever checked out on my watch, all right? But I've certainly had clients where I gave them all the goodness of a solid wake-up. They gained clarity and they dreamed some desired outcomes, right? And they were well on their path to achieve those great things in their lives. And while some certainly did, a lot of them simply didn't. They were at it for the usual week or two, and then things went back to the old. And while I received a great pleasure working with the ones whose lives have changed, I was in a way defeated by the odds and really got affected by my own ability to make a lasting impact for those who failed and gave up, whom despite the coaching settled for less and what they wanted in life. Changing habits is hard, very hard for general public. And we've all learned that lesson in our own life at some point in time already, haven't we? We start a new thing and before a week or two max, we already gave up on it. What happens with New Year resolutions and just about anything else you tried changing in your life? Same story, right? This is because we try changing consciously, and for as long as we're producing that new behavior consciously, it works, doesn't it? We make ourselves do it. We literally take over and bypass the system, doing things consciously. And the reason this hardly ever sticks is because our nervous system wasn't designed to be used like that. We are not meant to do things consciously. It's the unconscious domain that needs to learn the behavior and do it for you onwards, like every other behavior adopted in your past. So we get tired, we run out of our 5% window, and the 95% takes over, as it always did, as it always will. So I had to look for more. I had to study more, way outside of life coaching circles. I was seeking gurus of all sorts, from the latest scientific knowledge about our brains, our neurosciences, and our bodies, our minds, all the way to the age-old knowledge from those people and cultures that came long before us. I didn't care how they call it or where the knowledge comes from. It could be from, east, south, west, north, another planet, all I know. It didn't matter to me. All that mattered were the ecology, integrity, and lasting change, results. So here's where the journey took me. Our science shows us clearly today that we have emotions, as you well know, and we either enjoy them or we suffer from them. It's well known nowadays that our emotional states play a huge role in our lives, don't they? And the S here is for our states. Science showed us that states do not accompany behavior like we used to think. It actually causes it. State determines our behavior. How about that? Did you know that? Did you know that since 95% of all your behavior is on autopilot, what causes it? What determines our actions throughout the day would be a normal question to ask, right? I mean, if all our results that we care so much about are caused automatically by all our behaviors, what determines which behavior we will produce? At any time of a day, it's our state that determines how you act. Think about this, in case you find this new or even strange. Have you noticed that when you're angry, the angrier you are, the more right you are? Have you noticed that? Question has always been, do we have any say in our behavior? Do we really have a choice, right? Well, we do. Of course we do. We get to choose our behaviors, our actions, don't we? And this is somewhat funny subject to me, as underneath that illusion of choice lies a fact that yes, you do have a choice, a whole range of behaviors that you can access in any given moment in time. But what's not immediately obvious is that your available choices of behavior are a range of behavior that resonates with the states that you are in. So when you're truly angry, you're not in charge, your emotions are. We say things we don't really mean. We break stuff that we need to buy later on. We hurt people physically or ourselves even while in such states, don't we? It's immediately obvious that we are not ourselves. We even say that later on. And that the conscious intelligence is not present at all. If we had more time, I could teach you how this really works and how and which parts of your brain specifically shuts down and things like that. The fact is that whatever state you are in, that determines the range of behavior you can access at that moment in time. Say an angry state. You can choose from squeezing a fist for yourself all the way to punching something or someone with it, right? You simply have no access to intelligence and you cannot really help yourself while you're in that state. So the state acts like an umbrella and it comes with a range of behavior that matches it. Your body picks one, the most familiar one, and we act it out, don't we? And when we calm down, when emotions subside, we can think for ourselves and think of many different ways we could have acted, right? And you can do that because you would be in a different state now, right? And so we go throughout the day. In bad moods, we act and perform badly. And when we are resourceful, we can only access resourceful behavior, right? Now, this is nothing new to many people. Corporates know this for quite some time now. While many bosses out there happily admit that they're not paying people to be happy, they are paying them to work, Yet they still understand the value of one's state. They try to motivate their staff in different ways, knowing full well that when a person is in a motivated state, they produce far better results, don't they? Mind you though, with the very same skill set. The only thing that changed was their state, and yet they produce better results. Same people, change of state, boom, very different results get created. So naturally, they hire motivational speakers as an example, right? The speaker comes in, he says the right things, he finds his way in people's hearts and motivation shows up. Over the next few days or weeks, people will definitely produce more and better because of it. It's measurable and corporations still do it, as it's kind of an immediate return on their investment, right? This is where I come to play and pose a question. For how long? That motivation that got created, how long will it last? You see, problem is that for some people, it may last a few hours, for some few days, but it's never sustainable and it simply cannot be. The reason being is that their motivation was generated in the first place from a source outside of themselves. Therefore, their motivation is not self-generated and it's not self-sustainable. The root cause for their motivation, the speaker, has left the building the very same afternoon, right? And their motivated state will last until something else shows up. Like the employee arriving home to a not very happy spouse, perhaps, and all his good vibes disappear before he even gets the keys into the door, right? But it still works on some levels, which is why motivational speaking is still a big deal and people ask for it, speakers do it for a living, right? Mind you again, life coaches all over the world are kind of pretending that they are not aware of this, just because they simply don't have the knowledge, the skill to do anything meaningful about it. They haven't mastered the state control, nor the understanding of how states are created, what their purpose actually is, and things like that, alright? And yet, over 95% of all our doing, of all our behavior, depends strictly from our states. Think about when we are in a good mood. The whole world seems so much brighter and our brain creates opportunistic ideas, doesn't it? We feel good and optimistic about life. And when we are under a cloud, so to speak, what happens then? Well, the whole world seems dark and hope is gone. This either empowers you to take a good action towards what you want in life, or it cripples you, debilitates you to take any action at all, right? Some years ago, a book and a movie, The Secret, came about. Many of you probably know about it, and while you could have many different opinions about it, I'm very grateful for the knowledge presented. While incomplete and perhaps not even useful on its own, it woke up so many people in this world to a better future, to better dreams. Power of positive states, frequencies, positive thinking, all great notions, I think. But without a full understanding, it can be very disappointing at the end of that road, which is a shame, of course. So, for the sake of time here, let's move on. You got by now that your results are caused by your behavior and that your behavior is caused by your states, alright? And if you are like I was, you'd probably unturn every rock in the world to find a way to change your states and live happily ever after. Alright, that's what I did. So, you see, it's actually far easier changing the state than changing a behavior. Alright? See, I make a joke, you laugh, your state changes. But maintaining positive states seems way harder than changing habits, isn't it? It's tiring after a while, to say the least. I used to be such a policeman of my own thoughts. No negativity was ever allowed in my mind, and life was super positive all the time. And it worked for as long as I was consciously at it. And after much policing, I grew resentful even for having to do this all the freaking time. And I grew tired and at times even wished I never even learned about how this works. Alright? I irritated my friends, my partner, and everyone else around me. I wouldn't let them share negative stories and complaints, and I wasn't allowed to do so either. Life was positive, but the effort was just too hard to maintain to keep doing it. Which is what happens, of course, when we try and live our lives consciously, which is not its purpose at all. We ought to teach the unconscious, habitual part of our mind on how we want things done, so it can continue to do it for us effortlessly, right? So, over 95% of all your states are also on autopilot, and the question is, what causes them? When I wake up in the morning, do I decide what state I will be in? Will I get up on the right or on the wrong side of the bed? It's my favorite one. Do I decide whether I'll be in this or that mood? We don't. We just find ourselves in a state, hence the illusion that states are happening to us in the first place. And yet, it's just unconscious, learned, habitual. When we came into this world, we never knew any of that. We learned it all. Think about it. When babies come to this world, they cry at times of stress like pain, hunger, or discomfort. Other than that, they're in their natural state of being, their default setting, which is, of course, your joy, bliss, or whatever you want to call it. Have you ever heard a baby smile? It's rather different than how we grown-ups smile, isn't it? There's just something to that tune of theirs of a perfect bliss without all the memories and things that the grown-ups are carrying around, right? So, we are not like this or like that by default, because of our genes and things like that. We simply learned it all, which means that it's not how you are. It's how you learned to be. Which of course means that you can unlearn it and learn something else now, right? So, the natural inclination, I hope, would be at this point is to ask, what's causing the states then? And the answer is our conditioning. I refer to conditioning as a sum total of all our learning, all our experiences in life, everything we ever learned about ourselves, life, all our memories, our values, beliefs, attitudes, characteristics, language, literally everything that you didn't come into this world with. All the stuff you learned in life, one way or another, okay? This acts like an unconscious database of some sort, a set of filters, if you like, that are simply informing your mind what means what, the relationship of things, and how to feel and act about it. This is where your perception is created for you on autopilot, okay? So, what does that mean? Think about it this way. Let me name just a few of the filters, even though there are many more here, okay? Let's talk about our beliefs as one of the items that would be on that list of what conditioning is made up from. You get it so far that people tend to believe in similar, same, or completely different things, right? We can have an infinite amount of different beliefs about the very same things in life, can't we? Just think about how people's religious beliefs can vary, to the way we relate to ourselves, to the way we perceive what we are capable of and what we are not. Let me give you an example here, okay? Let's say a person believes that he's a shy person, okay? You may even believe that some people in your life are just shy, that is how they are, or even worse, who they are. And argue the point that you're not your beliefs, your states, you're not your behavior, you're not your results. What you are is always so much more than that. What you believe, feel, or do is what you've learned so far, and that's okay with me. Alright? If you are a shy person and you have no problem with that, I don't have it either. But if you raise your hand and say that you know that you're shy, but you wish you weren't, you find it limiting somehow because, I don't know, it affects how you relate to the rest of the world, A shy guy will probably have trouble approaching a girl, for example, and maybe miss out on lots of fun in life, yes? The kind of jobs they would apply for, and the list goes on and on. It can truly affect, deeply so, one's quality of life and the results they get to create, yes? If one believes that he can do something, he will most probably try if he wanted to, yes? But what happens when someone just knows that he cannot do that, he cannot achieve that? He won't even try. Isn't that true? Beliefs have an enormous impact on our psyche and the way we perceive reality, don't they? We literally filter so much of the reality through our own beliefs. We use them to evaluate things in our lives, to determine what's right or wrong, what's possible for us and what isn't. The way I see beliefs is they're like pillars of our reality. They carry that much weight. And then we have another filter, say memories, our past experiences. Do you think your perception of your past has anything to do with how you perceive your present and how you perceive your potential future? Of course they do. They are your only reference point that determine your expectations in life. And if your past is a dark one, it's only natural that our future doesn't seem any brighter for us, right? Also, what about trapped emotions that are attached to some horrible events in our past? We call them unprocessed negative emotions, you see, because we are talking about the burdens of life, the baggage that most people carry around, whether on their shoulders or wherever else in the body they feel it. The idea is that these trapped emotions are burdened in the body and they act as an energetic blockage of some sort in the body, causing all sorts of stress for the organs and to the ways our body works. And just like all doctors today agree that 99% of all our diseases are caused by stress, I'm showing you just a glimpse of what the stress they're referring to here, okay? Our heavy pasts, our traumas, unprocessed and piled up baggage is hurting the body, and this causes chaos inside of our bodies. Body deals with it the best it knows how, but we all know that prolonged stress wins that battle and we develop diseases, right? So if we've been hurt in the past in some ways, then any new opportunity would be seen through that filter, and we'd expect to be hurt and do what we can to protect ourselves and not even allow ourselves to be open to it, right? Say as a young boy, I fall in love and my little heart goes all haywire for the beautiful girl in my school, okay? And say she had no interest in me and she humiliates me in front of my friends. What happens? She breaks my heart. But I'd probably experience the same thing again because I will fall in love again, right? And say that other girl also dismisses me. Or even worse, she loves me for a week and then she runs away with one of my buddies. What happens then? Well, after 2 or 3 such experiences, our mind learns, it generalizes, and based on the past experiences, it concludes that every time, even though it happened only 2 or 3 times, every time I open myself for love, I end up in pain. So such events can even shape me in this context, of who I'd become in the future. Perhaps a cold-hearted guy that's just using women and never create a deep and meaningful relationship. Can you see how this works? How memories and beliefs get binded together and how it shapes our future decisions and states, behaviors, and therefore our results in life. Take any context in life, the story is the same. I could go on and talk about the values and how super important they are as a filter, values, the things that are important to us, a place where all our inner self-generated motivation comes from. Values are a really big deal, by the way. This is something that I teach my students only on the master coach level. It's really deep and one shouldn't play with it lightly, okay? But for the sake of time, I think I gave you a good idea of what I mean by conditioning, okay? A sum total of all our experiences, learnings, rules in life, relationships, and meanings of things. When you were a baby, you never knew about money and its meaning, its use, did you? It's all learned. You never knew about dating, careers, what you can and cannot do. It's all learned, right? And as learned, it sits there at the unconscious mind's database as a set of filters governing your perception of your current life, therefore creating your thinking and states on autopilot all day long. You get only 5% of an input in any given day, in any given week, in any given month, in any given year. It sounds crazy, I know, but that's our reality, isn't it? So, a quick question now. How far are we with this entire picture? How far are we from your traditional life coaching? And I mean, just as in terms of awareness, just in terms of even knowing about this stuff. Knowing alone isn't enough, you see. but it's way ahead of not even knowing about it, right? So let's talk about change quickly, which is one of my favorite topics, obviously. You see, when people go to a life coach, they in a way get cheated right from the start. Now that sounds a bit heavy, so let me explain. When people come to us, they almost never say, I want to get clarity, hope, and motivation, set some goals. They really don't speak that language that way. They come to us saying, hey coach, here are my results in life, and I wish they were different. I want to change this or that. They get specific, they'll tell you, I want out of my pain. I want to make more money. I'm tired of this illness. Can you help? So clients come to us wanting to change things in their lives. They're seldom on, I want to know that it was all my doing. I want to empower myself and do things differently. They don't speak that way. They're not on that type of a journey usually. People tend to be invested in their results in life, and they are begging for change. Change is what they want. Isn't that what you'd ask for as a client? And the sad thing is that most life coaches in the world just have no clue how to create a lasting change for their clients. They all tend to operate in the behavior causes results section. They tend to do some great work, as I described it before, and they're just not the change agents. They're doing their best, but they haven't been trained on that level. That's all. If any change happens during a normal life coaching session, it's because client had a aha moment and that insight stuck, which affected things back in the conditioning. But these moments are rare and unpredictable for any coaching story. So this is where the science of NLP comes to play, for example. Let me name a few things just to give you an idea what an NLPer can do that life coaches can only dream about. But before I do, a quick warning here, okay? I'm about to make some way too good to be true statements, alright? Some impossible stuff. Some stuff that some of you may find very hard to believe. And although I like when people call me unbelievable, I still wanted to warn you about it, okay? I'm not even an NLPer. I'm way more than that, just but let's do one thing at a time here, okay? So, ready for some outrageous statements? For some too good to be true, while for some just unbelievably good and a reality? Alright, remember when we agreed that changing habits is super hard, and even though it shouldn't take us more than 21 days to break any habit, most people just don't get to make that happen. Well, for any decent NLPer, it should be super easy to, within 5-10 minutes let's say, change one's habit. And I mean in a way that we don't just break some old undesired habit, but instead we install a new desired behavior right in there as a new program for our client's mind, so much so that they would actualize that behavior without conscious effort or a new learning curve, practice. Yes, what I'm saying is that it's truly possible to, within mere 10 minutes intervention, with a willing client of course, change old habits and even replace them with the new desired ones. To give you an example, think of a snoozing the alarm story. Some people snooze their alarms and after a while, it can become a problem. Once the habit sets in and their body learns to do it automatically, body doesn't even wake up to do the snoozing again, right? Instead, their hand reaches over and snoozes the alarm without you even getting a chance to wake up and make that snoozing decision for yourself. You don't even get a say, and the real problem comes when that snoozing happens like 20 times, and now it's like 2-3 hours later, you're late for work every day. You can't even help it. That becomes a problem, the moment your job is at risk and you may get replaced by someone who can at least come to work on time, becomes a problem. So a normal life coach would use some creativity at best and have your alarm placed in a different room, and if loud enough, it may just get you out of the bed and, you wake up by the time you get to the next room to switch it off. This rarely works, by the way. Pillow will probably work better. All right? But when an NLPer, someone trained in this level in the context of change, give him 10 minutes of your life and he will replace that undesired snoozing behavior for a completely different one. Say you'd get up right away out of the bed, stretch your body, feeling wide awake and rested, you stretch your arms and you stop the alarm at that point with a smile on your face. Let's say that that's what client wanted to do instead, okay? So we just installed that new program. 10 minutes, done. By the way, it works right away, or in this case, client's body will automatically execute that new desired behavior, the one we just installed. on the first chance he gets the needed trigger, like the alarm clock going off, right? So we can't really test super effectively right there and then, but the first chance it has, the body will just do what it's programmed to do, right? So this new installed behavior becomes an instant habit, if that makes sense. Too good to be true? I'll try telling that to my clients and watch them laugh out loud, as they also thought so. It looks like magic, really, and yet it's just science. Equally, we can change perceptions. Say a cute little thing that I teach at my trainings called like to dislike. Again, within 10 minutes intervention, I can help you dislike something that you do like, but you wish you didn't. Say you had so much fondness for ice cream, for example, or Nutella, that you can't control yourself. Say you eat 2 liters of ice cream for breakfast, you like it that much, okay? You can't help yourself. So, if you're a willing client, of course, I could help you change that perception. And it would become a proper dislike. So much so, you wouldn't want any ice cream. You wouldn't even buy any. And if faced with it, you'd be really pushed away from it, much like the other things you perhaps disliked already, right? Crazy, I know, and yet, this is really just some of the quick fixes, as I call them. It's not even a big deal for me. How about a headache? It can also disappear in a few seconds, really, if you know what you're doing and how it works. This is what I meant before when I said there is so much unnecessary suffering and pain in this world. People need our help. Knowledge is certainly available today. None of this is rocket science. Just basic models of intervention, in my books at least, okay? So, a good NLPer can also, with ease, help you change your states, maybe even release phobias, install a resource anchor that would always bring about the best, most resourceful states on. And you've seen this with different professional athletes, right? You know how some of them have their own way of celebrating the score, a goal or whatever, something like their own unique power move of some sort, right? You've seen this before. Tell me, please, what makes a professional athlete different from ordinary people? Well, they invest enormous amounts of time, money, energy, and all sorts of efforts to own that game, to play it like professionals do. It takes dedication and a major investment altogether for them to achieve that status, yes? Well, I took on life in a similar manner. I decided to play it as a sport, as a game. And I'm playing this game of life today as a professional. I spent decades in studying it, our bodies, minds, nature that we are a part of, and how it all relates and works together. Today, I own my states. My actions are useful and I'm happy and forever growing my results. One can, Question is, how far do you want to go? Do you have what it takes? Are you invested enough, So, professional players, they certainly are, and they know about some of this stuff. They had a matching coach who could teach them how to take things into their hands and bring the A game back up, even when things are going down. And now they make that move like Novak Djokovic does, By the way, he's one of the best tennis players in the whole world for how long now? Anyway, he'd make that move even when things are going bad for him. And out of nowhere, instead of growing anxious and losing his match, he'd get back his A game on and win the match, despite the odds, which is rather rare in professional circles, right? They usually buy into their emotions and play a crappy game onwards, don't they? I guess I'm just linking what you already know, what you already seen, with some of my too good to be true statements here, yes? Okay, moving on to even more important stuff then, if you're ready. Let's look at this formula again. It should be clear to you now that whatever results you have in your life, while it's true that behavior caused them and behavior needs change, sum total of all your states brought those behaviors about, and that it's states that are actually causing those results then, right? And by same logic, you get to realize that all states are caused by our conditioning, which means that the root cause for all our results, good and the bad ones, are always deep inside of your conditioning, aren't they? This is where it all stems up, and states and behaviors are just vehicles used to bring these specific results about, right? If we had more time, I'd show you how your conditioning is truly where it all originates from, how your results are an actual mirror of your conditioning. It's been said that your reality, the perceived world around you, outside of you, is a mirror image of what's inside of you. But that may be a bit too deep for now. All right? And I don't want to take you too far with me just yet, okay? But you've certainly heard the saying, be the change you want to see in the world, haven't you? You see, we need to become the very things that we desire to experience, to see and experience in our worlds, in our realities. We need to become it first. As we change, our filters change, and everything from there is a chain reaction. Our results can change next to effortlessly. The moment we invest ourselves and take time to look inside, get to know what we are made of, and do what is needed to update our conditioning to a more useful, more serving setup, so that you and your clients get to create and find yourselves in a reality that you would prefer to have, right? We can't go that far now, okay? Let's keep it to still really important but more tangible topics. Let's close it off with our past, our memories, and our unprocessed negative emotions. Do you have memories in your life that when you think of them, when you relive certain events from your past, the emotions just come up? These are the unprocessed emotions, and while you ought to obviously hold on to your positive memories and emotions, I'm interested in any events that bring about negative emotions, just by thinking about them. For some people, even though years have passed, they're still grieving and feeling enormous sadness about their loss of someone or any other traumatic experience that has happened in the past. People tend to carry it with them, and we call it baggage, issues. We say, my cup is full. All the different ways to describe what I'm talking about here. Unprocessed negative emotions that are experienced as a heavy burden, all the things we swallowed but never processed, all the piled up angers, sadness, fear, hurts, guilts, and alike. It's all just one filter in my books called memories. And they have a huge impact in our perception and, of course, our own health of the body. So you can even allow yourself to contemplate an actual reality where it was possible to, within one fairly short intervention, one session, help people heal all of their lifelong burdens, process and truly let go, once and for all of their baggage combined, to let go of the things from the beginning of time for them until now. What would such an intervention do for a person? What do you think? Well, I can tell you that it would change everything, from their perception of their past to the way they relate to themselves, their confidence levels, their self-image, self-belief, and combine that with changing, updating any limiting belief they may hold about themselves or their abilities. What do you think that would do for a person? Can you even imagine? Imagine not being able to recall any memory from the past that brings pain. I mean, all your memories will remain there and you can remember them, but the emotional charge being gone. Can you imagine the relief for your psyche and your body, free from all that baggage and pains? And all that without you having to name some specific events, talk about them, relive them, cry them out, or elaborate on them over and over again for years of therapy like some other modalities do. I'm talking about one simple session and deep, profound transformation that is measurable, where you get immediate gratification, immediate results that your clients will cherish for the rest of their lives. Never mind your own gratitude as you'd go through the very same process yourself, just through learning how to do it for others, right? And now, we're already way ahead of what NLPers out there can do, and we ran out of the normal boxes, by the way. The last few things I talked about are not part of any one single traditional training, you see. Other than what we do at my institute, obviously. I did mention before that my institute is also in a box, but a box of its own. Throughout life, I found that I seldom fit in other people's boxes, and although I tried my best to fit in, for the sake of belonging and things like that, I struggle to stay when I see limitations that we are not allowed to expand on and break through. Don't get me wrong here, my way of coaching is also a box. An RSCI box, if you will, and the only difference is that I'm still open to learn. So when I see a boundary of my own box, I kick that thing wide open again and stick with what truly matters. I'm collecting a set of tools, the accompanying knowledge and understandings that always cause a profound change for my clients. A change that they can easily keep, a change that is quick and ecological. And so I gave myself the liberty to replace the old and outdated and stick with only what works, regardless of its origin, as I mentioned before. So for an RCI coach, which I'd hope you see now as a whole new breed of a coach out there, the approach to coaching and working with clients looks more or less like this as a big picture, okay? So here's my personal approach. My client expresses his needs, troubles, their desires. Then I teach them a few groundbreaking concepts, ask a tremendous amount of good quality and transformative questions. They get clarity and we refine our aim. Then I have them clean up their past, align their present with the future they crave for, and even help them program their mind for creating such future. Clients experience immeasurable value and tell all their friends about me. We schedule recurring sessions and have a long-lasting relationship for many years to come. So this approach truly ensures a win-win, mutually rewarding relationship that's just so fulfilling as you can imagine for yourself, of course. You see, in my way of coaching, you won't spend endless hours on listening to their sometimes really horrible and heavy stories. You won't spend countless time trying to find out why something happened. Instead, you'd give their body what it really needed. A major emotional reset for their nervous system, an update of their self-belief system, which creates a whole new outlook on their life and their future agendas. And all of this without me ever telling clients what they should be doing and how they should live their lives. All of that without giving them some sound advice. You see, we believe that clients already have all the answers and resources inside of them. And through some clever ways, we help them bring those things to surface. We help them immediately overcome the burdening issues and heal the pain. We set them free from their limiting and crippling thoughts and ways of being themselves or their future. We align them with who they really are, according to them, hey? And we help them create a desired future for themselves by being there for them, to constantly tweak the things that show up in their way inside their psyche. Talking about performance enhancement tool, hey? Pick a context of life. Business, health, professional athletes, any context at all. I should know I get paid $5,000 per hour for my coaching time, and my clients are always thrilled for the value received. So yeah, the proof is in the pudding, as people say, isn't it? Alright, now back to you guys. I want you to know that there are three kinds of people here in the context of becoming a life coach. We have conversationalists. They're all about endless talk, no action, no commitment, alright? Then we have dabblers. They, buy a product but never commit truly, and they never put it to good use. They don't do what you say, they're all the talk and no doing. And then, thank God for these, we also have superstars. They know that I know what they don't know. They're open to learn, quite excited to learn actually, and committed to action and application. And that is why they're always the most successful ones. If you are on this path of self-discovery, if you care about overcoming your own life's troubles and winning at the end, if you have a keen heart to actually help other people, you've got to be a superstar. You've got to admit that you don't know everything there is to know. You've got to be thirsty to learn and to become more. An old wise man once said, if you want to have more, you have to become more. And my trainings are all about becoming more and learning how to help other people, making a career out of it if you would like to. I hope you guys are superstars. This world needs more heroes, and I'm on my own mission to heal this world and make it a much, much better place than what I found it in. There is just so much suffering and pain in our world that's absolutely unnecessary. And I believe that if people were just to get themselves educated on this matter, we could end so much of it so easily. Imagine if people really knew, and I mean they really knew, what their thoughts actually do. If they knew how to change negative patterns of thinking and their emotional states. If they learned how to easily change their negative habits. If they learned how to communicate more effectively, how to become more influential in their own life. If they knew how to heal the pain. Just imagine. What world would our children grow in? But that's my story and my drive. What is yours? Are you just going to mess around with this subject, or will you have an actual peak eventually? Or are you done with the old and ready for empowering yourself beyond belief and becoming more? Becoming what is truly needed in this world today. A hero that saves the day for yourself, your loved ones, and for anyone else that crosses your path. For what it's worth, I sure hope that there's some superstars on this call. Back to you guys. Jason, you still there? I got a bit emotional there for a moment. Can you guys hear me? You guys are still there? I hope so. Because this is where I was hoping to get some personal questions from people on this call. Will you help me out there with the tech stuff?
Sure thing, Robert. I'm like, wow, the way you just explained that, I think that's what we all needed to hear. I feel I already got my money's worth and I haven't even paid you anything yet. I bet you get that a lot.
I always have at least two accounts in my mind. One is my bank account and the other is somewhat more than just virtual. It's more like a spiritual account, if you will. And these two accounts seem to be very, very closely linked to one another, okay? Here's how it works, in my mind at least. The more I give and contribute for free, the more money my regular account has. I find it quite funny how my money account seems to be in direct proportion of the balance of my spiritual account. Do you know what I mean? So I do my best to add value wherever I go, teach things for free, demonstrate that I can help by actually helping people. And those that can afford my time, they invest in my trainings. And those that cannot do that yet, they don't. But hey, at least I managed to help them to some level, yes? So I'm here to serve and help, and that is my default setting. Money always comes back to me from one source or the other, all right? And yeah, I often hear people thinking, man, if I got this for free, what do I get if I actually pay this guy, Which is quite true, isn't it? So anyway, for the guys on the call, let's have some of you type in your questions in the chat box. And Jason, if you could help me with that and just pick a few from the questions that come in, that would be great. You get to choose and I'll do my best to answer them right on, okay?
All right, Sandy asks, in your opinion, what is the hardest part of becoming a life coach?
Well, it's probably the minefield that the life coaching industry became. By some not too well-meaning people, profit-seeking, zero ecology type of crowd, okay? And you'll find this in any industry, but we also have a bunch of good-hearted folks teaching their stuff, completely ignorant that their frameworks are totally obsolete. Sometimes even really wrong things to do, So sadly, so many people make a wrong turn. They pick the wrong teacher and burn their fingers in a way, learn that this life coaching stuff doesn't really work and thus choose different directions in life onwards. So that's a shame, which is one of the main reasons why I do my part as much as possible, to shed some light onto the industry itself. And while it's hard to separate myself from my institute when I do these things, I still do my best, that's all you can expect from me, I guess. I do it from the heart, and I hope you guys can feel that inside. I'm clear about my intentions, I know who I am and what I stand for, and I'm rather transparent in my communication, am I not? I think everybody knows me as such, and from me, you do get what you ask for. So, Sandy, was it? Becoming a life coach is super easy nowadays. You just need to really want it, make the necessary investments in terms of energy, time, money, and whatever else needs to happen in your life, and just go for it. Just make it happen. It's super easy, trust me. Just pick someone that you relate to, and if it doesn't work out for you, don't you dare give up. Get back on your feet and insist on learning and finding someone who can teach you what does work instead, okay? After all, that's what I did. I went through an endless pile of bull and some really good stuff. Dismissed the useless and kept the gold of the gold. It's a learning curve and I still do it. I still attend trainings as a student and I intend on keep studying this stuff because it's endless. I believe that regardless of how unbelievably powerful as coaches we already are and what we can do and demonstrate, how much more we know today about brains alone than mere 2 decades ago. We're still only just scratching the surface of the surface, yeah? Alright, so who's next?
Sarah has a great question. How do I know which training to take?
My first thought was, Sarah, have you actually been on the call over the last hour or so? Or did you just join us? And if you did, please forgive me as I was hoping to present a rather big deal on how to know what the right training is for you based on the end outcomes of what you'd want to do with your clients. This tends to inform the level of skill that you'd require, which then informs what kind of training would suffice from a very simple, plain, shallow, not far-reaching sessions all the way to a complete transformation for your clients, yeah? And I guess I can add to it that If you're simply not clear about any of it, that's okay, okay? It was certainly a lot of information to take in, and I would strongly suggest you get in touch with someone you can talk in person to and have it all mapped out for you, in a way that you needed to hear it, okay? If you're interested in my kind of approach and studying with me, then of course you can go to my website and contact some of my team members. I promise that rock your world and be there for you, even more than what I can at this moment in time, all right? All right, Jason, next question.
Robert, Fahira asks you to name the number one tool that a life coach must have.
Wow, that's a tough one for me, Fajira, as I believe that there isn't one best tool out there. We have different tools for a different purpose, you see. And we also have different tools for the same purpose. So you get to pick one to your liking at a time. Personally, I love tools that are fast, easy for me and my client, effective, and working at the deepest levels of their being. I'm eternally driven to create a lasting, as meaningful as possible change. Hence, my range of tools is very different from what you get in a normal life coaching trainings. Okay, Jason?
And John has a great question here. What will I take home from such a training?
Okay, first things first. As you know by now, there are many different training options out there, delivering trainings differently, teaching different things with different agendas. I can only talk about what I can guarantee, so I'll speak to you now as a master trainer of Robert Simic Coaching Institute and our way of doing things, okay? So, in my training, you would get two things as a big picture, all right? On a personal level, you could have your own healing, letting go of lifelong burdens and pains, become congruent and aligned with the real you, the person you'd want to be instead, an empowered and resourceful, impactful person, someone who'd be in position to claim his life back and really just enjoy life more than ever before. And on a professional level, you could get skills that are out of this world really and make a lasting contribution, save lives all I know, and make a career out of it if you wanted to. You could even just become way better at all areas of your life just by applying the understandings acquired in the process, communicate better and more influentially, become a better husband, father, friend, colleague. I'm sure you're getting the picture now, yeah? And in case this question was actually about what do I take home, as in how do I sell this to my wife type of thing, and get her blessing to register and attend my training, then, and by the way, there is nothing wrong with that. I think most of us need the permission, support of some sort from someone else out there. Most of us with families, business partners, it's totally okay to have someone to share this decision with. There are additional chores to pick up because of your absence, from kids to who knows what. So I'm always well aware that my students' investment is almost never only money and time. It often costs them many other emotional investments, and sometimes it's really a big ask, big price to pay. But knowing what I know and how that same training will impact your life, her life, your children's lives one day, I have no reservation in asking for such an investment. So in such case, tell her that you'd become much more present in your lives, more resourceful, better at communicating. You'd start really understanding her needs. Tell her that you're investing in yourself so you can be valued even more and earn higher income wherever you go from there. And maybe what she may need to hear as well is that you will not become a cult sort of person and come back all changed and weird, hanging upside down from a tree or, wanting to move your bedroom to a cave. Well, okay, maybe I can't guarantee that last one though, right? Look, all jokes aside, John, was it? I think you got the point, yeah? And better yet, see if you can help her see and realize the value of attending this training together. As I cannot stress this enough, all right? The importance of being partners, experiencing such growth together. It can happen, you see, that one grows and the other one doesn't. And that's never great for a relationship. So if not at the same time, plans should be put in place for the partner to attend the same training as well soon afterwards, yeah? This is easier said than done in most cases, so I understand. We all do the best we can with what we've got at the time, right? All right, I hope that covered all the possible versions of John's question. Jason, any more questions for me?
And then Peter asks, what kind of people attend your training?
Well, Peter, all sorts of people come to my trainings. It's actually quite funny and amazing at the same time. We have them coming in from all walks of life. I have doctors, psychologists, professors, teachers, CEOs of big corporations, even members of royal families, VIPs of all kinds and celebrities. And before you get that idea that this is maybe not your league here, I gotta tell you that we also have homemakers. Housewives, yeah? I prefer calling them homemakers as that's what they really are in my mind. We get students, sometimes 14-year-old kids, people with some or no school at all, self-employed people, entrepreneurs, you name it really. But they are all like-minded or like-hearted, as I prefer saying it, even though they come with their own agendas and totally different desired outcomes. Somehow, like magic really, we manage to create a very supportive environment. We focus on what needs to be resolved and how we make a world a better place. And everyone gets way more of what they ever hoped to get from this training. It's truly amazing the way the group forms and how we all get into the flow, learning and transforming at the same time. So from my perspective, Peter, really doesn't matter. And I assure you that you'd be comfortable and growing at the same time, no matter who's in the room. Okay? Jason?
And then Marwin asked a great question. What are the true highlights from your training?
Well, there's so many, really. Let me see if I can run through only a few. Imagine yourself in this environment, okay? Day one is always crazy as there is this room, small or big, full of people from all over the world, different countries, backgrounds, ages, careers or not, and everyone is seemingly busy with their own individual agendas, all right? Then some magic happens, and after I teach some mind-blowing concepts, they all have a few aha moments, and often most of their agendas become obsolete and somewhat change. They start forming as a group, and by lunchtime, about 2/3 of the room about is all buddied up and comfortable already, okay? Day two changes everything again. And while group is now forever accepting of one another, open to communicate and resolve whatever needs resolving, we are keeping our understanding of the most important concepts and doing many personal but private exercises, okay? Days 3 to 6, they get a bit technical and we learn how to use metaphors, change people's habits, install new behaviors, things we talked about earlier on here, okay? How to change perceptions, say how to get a person's mind to dislike ice cream, right? If that was their problem, or anything else. So we get rid of their troubling perceptions and replace unserving behaviors. We experience the power of asking good quality questions. We cover the art of Milton Erickson's approach to coaching. We learn how to handle objections and reframe linguistically whatever comes our way. We learn how to integrate any internal conflicts that prevent us from experiencing the wholeness inside, the natural alignment with who we are as people, so that we can end endless self-sabotage, procrastination, and the like, so we can finally make a congruent decision and move on with our lives. You know what I mean? Because some people keep going back and forth in their lives, never really advancing sustainably. And this causes all sorts of pain and discomfort, even diseases when not addressed, right? And then for the last 4 days, we go deep, inside. We move into the lasting change stuff and heal the deepest parts of our psyche, release our unprocessed negative emotions, the lifelong accumulated baggage, angers, sadness, fears, hurts, guilts. We let it all go, which is rather easy and quick to do, by the way. And contrary to the popular expectation, we reset our emotional selves, which changes everything, starting from the quality of the thinking that happens in our minds on autopilot, as you already know how that works by now. We also change any limiting beliefs. Thoroughly and easily, you transform your self-image, the way you feel about you and your qualities, and this again affects just about any aspect of your life. So let's just say that the first 6 days are so valuable that it would be really hard to put a monetary value on what is it that you get as an experience, what you get to walk away with, okay? And these first 6 days are easily worth maybe only 20% of value of what happens during the last 4 days. It's just way too good to be true, impossible, unbelievable. And by the way, I do like when people call me unbelievable. I think I mentioned this before. And obviously, we'd wrap up the training eventually. Many would graduate as an actual RSCI coach, NLP coach, time, paradigm techniques practitioner. All in all, there are 7 internationally recognized certifications that one can earn during those 10 days with me. So, Marvin, for some people, it's just too good to be true. For some, it's just too much, And for some, willing and open to learn, those who said, what if it was true? What if what he says is actually possible achieving? Would it be worth trying it out? For those men and women, the whole thing becomes very, very real and far from too much. It rather becomes an overwhelm of gratitude and unique privilege to be someone in this world with such level of understanding and skills. Something rather precious and valuable in this world on every level of one's being. Guys, apologies if I went to too much details on this question. I know we're running out of time here, but how else do I tell him what highlights he can expect when there are really so many, Alright, so who's next? Jason.
And Sunana asks, have you ever had people that failed as a life coach, and how did that happen?
Well, the answer is simple. Yes, me. Many times. Well, until I figured it all out and learned what I needed. There's nothing wrong with failing, mind you, in a traditional sense of that word. You produce a certain result that you're not fond of, you learn from it and try again, but differently, yeah? So you can't really fail unless you quit. And that's a very different word, you'd agree. Myself, my assistants, other students in the room, we always create such a supportive environment where everyone feels comfortable to play with it, test it out of curiosity and just see what happens, rather than policing around and making anyone uncomfortable. We are all there to learn, and people get used to that principle pretty quickly. Now, having said that, of course, all sorts of things will happen at the training. We had people that wish to become a life coach for a variety of their reasons, but then during the training, because of the transformative nature of my training, they shift and find their true calling, their life purpose even, and some change their mind. And, they no longer pursue the life coaching career, but instead, they pursue that other newfound calling, all right? And, equally, some come with no intention to actually become a life coach, but for their own benefit and quality of life that follows naturally from there. And yet, these guys decide to be a life coach afterwards. So there's no really telling who's going to take which path. So how do you measure the success rate then, yeah? What I can tell you for sure is that all of these people that went through my trainings, we're talking about thousands now, yeah? Every single one of them are no longer living in ignorance of past learnings. They're all empowered and have dealt themselves a very different deck of cards now. So I know that whatever lives they created from there was by their choosing. Sure, some express themselves in bigger ways than others, some wildly successful coaching practices, while some are okay with a few clients per month. Some, like I said, don't even need clients professionally as their incomes are generated elsewhere. I hope that made sense to you, yeah? And by the way, Jason, I can see that questions just keep coming in, which is why you get to sift through them and pick the most relevant ones for everyone, hey? If I had to scroll here and do that, it would take me forever, and I think it'd stay on this call for a much, much longer time than planned, all right? So thank you, guys. I get inspired, really, when people take action, when they're involved and thinking for themselves, when they ask the questions, Those are some great questions. I really appreciate it. Just the fact that you're asking them means to me that you're rather invested here. Some levels tells me that we did a good job here together in delivering the core part of our purpose here. I know we ran out of time, so let me wrap it up with this.
Rob, wait a sec. You just have to answer this one more question, please, as I'm curious myself about it. You see, I was planning to ask you this at the end myself, as my people are kind of used to getting some sort of a special deal through me. You know how it is, and I know how you feel about your fees, and the value is out of question, of course. But I was hoping you'd grant some special offer for my guys on this call. And before you say anything, look, it's not just me asking. Here is Dr. Adam in the chat box asking, do you have any special promotions right now for us on the call? I know you care, and I know you care deeply, and I know rumor has it you dislike undervaluing your products and services, but give me something for those that could really use some savings here. What do you say?
Well, thanks for that long-winded softening the question attempt. I think it's fun, and as you know, my default response is no. as that is the last thing one should ask me, especially at this stage. Value, value, value. Some say it's expensive, and I go, comparing to what? It's literally impossible to compare two offers like this from different institutions, and even when they look like the same thing, it never is. It simply cannot be. We all use fancy words like life-transforming stuff, but how does one get to measure and really know? Well, you can't until you do them all, which some people like myself do, by the way. I'm a forever student and intend to remain a student of life for as long as I live. So I still attend trainings and learn whenever possible. There's always something to learn, trust me. My most comforting feedback in this context is from the students that have done 3 or a dozen of such similar trainings, and while it's not easy to evaluate things from one's own perspective, it's super easy hearing things from others, experienced coaches who say things like, "You call this life coaching? You guys are light years ahead of life coaching." So I obviously get some external reassurance, not that I really needed any, but it's nice to hear and know that is how they feel too. The newbies are the tricky ones. They walk away from my training with a golden platter after just 10 short days, and only I know they have no clue what they really have, comparing to what other life coaches out there actually have, know, and do with their clients. So the subject of price is always quite a funny one for me. With all due respect to Dr. Adam here, I'm assuming he got on this call because of the invite you sent to your people, and he's asking for a discount, not even knowing how much my 10 days training even costs in the first place. Just assumption on my part, and I'm not saying it's wrong or judging, I just said that I'm usually enjoying this part, So here's another thing that comes in the way of let's talk about the price step, alright? Robert Simic Coaching Institute is really not your normal business. Doing things in a normal kind of way is long gone for me, I think. I show you my stuff, you like what you see, and then we make a deal, So how's that changed for me? Well, for one, I don't need students in order to pay for my bills. I'm not in the putting bums in the seats business either. I have my prime clientele that pays me $80,000 each. I have my online courses that are reaching global markets. I ventured in some software and gaming companies. I have a few other businesses and investments, and let's just say that my financial side of life works without me having students in front of my stage, okay? And I'm not saying this to boast in any way. I want to stress the point that I don't have to do any of this. I think I'd die not doing it, and I think I'll teach this stuff for as long as my body serves me, and there are people that need it, okay? So I don't care how many people shows up there on the scheduled dates. I've done trainings even just for 6 people in front of me, and I've done it in much, much larger rooms than that. I don't need students. I want students. And furthermore, I want a specific type of a student in front of me. So my trainings or my time is not for sale, you see. Yes, there are fees, there are hourly fees sometimes, but doesn't mean automatically that you can buy my time or make me work with you, yeah? My team that works with new inquiries, potential students, is doing a very good job in filtering people out for me. I hope that came out right though. In other words, as much as you guys get to choose where you will study and from who, just as much we get to choose who we want to hang out with and serve, right? So my team has a very specific criteria of what kind of people I want in my training rooms so that I can have the most fun and fulfillment in working with them and serving their needs, serving their purpose. The work that we do is serious enough, and I think it's important to have some fun and take things lighter sometimes, hey? So if you ever speak to any of my guys, while you have your questions, they have theirs for you. They want to know what it is that you really want by taking this training with us. What are your true intentions? What are you hoping to accomplish, and for what reason? Our aim is really to serve your purpose, and if your needs are not going to be met at my training, we don't want you to waste your time or resources in attending it in the first place. Sometimes even suggest a different path for you. And all that with no judging, rather out of utmost caring and respect really. And if we find ourselves to be a perfect fit for you, we tell you that. We do whatever we can, literally, to make this work for you. To make it accessible, affordable, you name it. I made a full loop from no discount to giving the trainings away for free, by the way. Learning a lot on that journey, and now I stick with a very, very balanced model. Whatever your situation is, I know that we can help, and we do, more often than not. Tell us your intentions, and if your values are matching mine, if you have a good, caring heart, want to help, heal yourself and others, You came to the right place, and I'll do just about anything in my power to support you and make this work for you. That's just how we operate. There's some boundaries that we created, of course, backed up by years of working with different people, but it all comes down to operating a heart-based business, as it really matters to me how and with whom I spend my time on this planet. All right? Okay, I hope I didn't get carried away there and said too much. What was the question? Oh yeah, the discount. Dr. Adam, right? How about this instead? Here's what I suggest. Let me just see if this page works and if we can use it. And it's been quite a while since I used it last. Hold on a sec. Let me see if this is still online. No. All right, it seems to be working. All right, so give me a moment and I'll put this in the next slide for you. Hold on. All right, so guys, hold on a sec. Thanks to paste. There we go. All right. So the next slide says, thanks to Dr. Adam. All right, so here's a very special page on my website that I used before, and here's how it works. But please don't just rush there now, okay? Let me explain first so there's no confusion, okay? When you go to that page now, it will load a small inquiry form, and I want you to fill it in fully, okay? Answer a few simple questions, tell us about your intentions and needs, and my right hand, one of my most trusted master coaches, will get that inquiry in her inbox. No obligations of any kind just yet, on either side, okay? You let us know about your world and your intentions, and we'll come back to you same or next working day for sure. And let's see whether we are a good match for one another, and if not, we thank you for your time and no harm done. You'll love the time you spend with her for sure. And if we are a good match for one another, she will tell you the cost, of course, the dates for the whole year ahead, and if you decide to join us, great. He will grant you a special discount of 20 to even 30% off in some scenarios, depending from a few factors in the specific trainings you selected, okay? So let's not jump into how much just yet. Let's do what I think is way more important, which is us being a good match for one another. If we are not, price, discounts, none of that matters. And if we are, we'll do whatever we can to have you on that training and make it accessible to you, okay? So Dr. Adam, I trust you find value in my response here. I want to give you a discount and reward decisive people of action, as they are usually the most successful ones. As for you as a doctor, you probably already know that. And I like surrounding myself with such people, obviously, as I'm like that too. So to say it again, you'll get 20 to 30% off just by making an inquiry on that special page on my website. It's obviously hidden from the public, and only you guys on this call can find it, as you have a direct link to it, okay? So please don't share the page elsewhere online, as I really want to reward the people that were here with us, investing their precious time on this call, staying all the way to the end for this long, okay? So the page is www.rsimic.com/20, number 20. All right, so it's rsimic.com/number 20. Now, something Jason here will approve, I'm sure. I will take that page down in a few days from now for sure. So if you go there and link works, you can apply still. If you try to get on that page and it doesn't load or redirects you elsewhere, you're too late, you know? So that's all I can do from this side. Is I didn't plan this, okay? I'm doing my best. Good intentions are here. That's what matters, I hope. Remember, you can apply your discount on any training in the future. There's no obligation here whatsoever. You're just making an inquiry. Through a secret form, though, that lets my team know that you are special and they need to treat you tad differently, okay? You get to talk or see someone one-on-one, get what you need and walk away, or stay and hang out with us. All right, enough about that. I hope that was clear enough. So if you guys have any other questions for me, I'd be more than happy to either respond to you personally or have a member of my team get in touch with you for an even more thorough conversation, maybe even meet in person when possible, yeah? I'm rather careful with my time, and while I do my best to show up when needed, it's not always possible, which is something I'm sure you guys understand. I'll tell you this much. The moment you start serving people of this world, time becomes a resource that often requires some planning around, yeah? Okay, so my last two slides. Where to from here? Now you know what matters and what doesn't. You know what questions to ask, how to compare different options in front of you. Yeah? You ought to invest in good, matching education and get out there, helping others as soon as possible. Our world needs more of what you can already give. Be smart in your selection. Find someone you can trust, someone experienced in real life application of the knowledge taught. Not somebody teaching from a book and have no real experience in life, right? And remember that either way, you're going to learn and grow, become more. So enjoy the process and have fun. You see, the fact that you're still here, watching, listening to me, means that you've got a lot of value from this, now that you've heard how it all works and how it fits together. So if you're finding this valuable, you're probably wondering how you can implement this in your life right away and take things onto a whole new level for you. Clearly, it would transform your livelihood, the value that you will have in this world, the way people would start perceiving who you are to them as an individual with such deeper understanding of how mind works and the skill set to make changes at will. I think people will find you irresistible and your amount of influence will grow tenfold. Just think about it. You don't even need to take it on that professional level and start your coaching practice right away. I have many students that attend my trainings primarily for themselves and their own needs. They want to learn and improve just about any area of their life. They want to learn the impact of our language and thoughts onto our mind. They want to improve their communication skills, their health, their relationships. They want to advance in existing careers, become a better manager, a happier person, a better father, mother, sister, spouse, a more resourceful member to their community. The list goes on. You certainly deserve the finer things in life, don't you? It's probably about time that you give yourself a break and achieve far more with what you have, isn't it? You see, before you make such an important decision, you may want to think about it first. The only challenge there is, if you're like me, you have already fallen deeply in love with this idea, haven't you? Been aware of it for quite some time now. Because when you think about it, the moment you become such a powerful coach, you will experience phenomenal and instant results in your own life, which is something we all want on some level, don't we? And after you become a coach and start using the newfound understandings and skills, your life will never be the same again, as literally everything changes in your favor. And career-wise, what other career comes with so much inner fulfillment and self-content? What other option do you have in life than to do such a course for yourself as a human being that just wants to be better for oneself and your family and people around you? From there on, you'll be able to walk through life with clarity and self-expression that will bring you the respect of others and, at worst, even some envy. And like I said, this has happened to me a long time ago. See, the more you think of the benefits of attending this training, the more you want it. You start wondering why in the world you haven't done this years ago. I can even imagine that you think about this all the time from now on. You know how it goes. You turn on your TV and yet your mind thinks of becoming a coach. You pour your coffee or your favorite beverage. You wonder about learning these precious skills and what effects it would have on your life. You switch on your car and you fantasize about what powerful impacts you'll be able to create in your life. You wash your face in the morning and you imagine being a coach for that day. You arrive home from somewhere and you think about it again. This has happened to me personally. I remember. All I could think about was the change that I would experience on so many levels in my life. I would even dare comparing that feeling, that obsession, if you will, that I had with falling in love, literally. Isn't that what passion is made of? Yeah? Anytime you think of your family members, for example, it links back to this newfound desire to do this training and help them in a way. Literally, every time you get a chance, like the moment you wake up in the mornings, your mind wanders off in this direction. It's crazy, but it felt so good, which is why I've done it at the end. And thank God that I did. As if I haven't, I'd probably still be sitting in some office, spending my life away on building someone else's business like I used to. Of course, life won't become peachy on its own. You'd still have to show up, learn what nobody ever told you before, apply it in your life, and only then you'd reap the benefits. Some lazy people expect it to be a magic trick of some sort, where they just show up briefly, pay me the money, and expect things to be done to them. Coaching doesn't work that way, guys. You need to be teachable, you need to be coachable. And that means that you would be willing to learn and willing to change. The change itself is easy, as I mentioned before. I can help you change just about anything within you. You just need to want it enough and show up for it, yeah? And if you think that it wouldn't work on you, then think again. Are you really that special? Coaching has been working throughout the world for cases far worse than yours, for sure, for such a long time. You deserve to, at very least, give it a try and see what happens. Any decent institution would offer you a money-back guarantee. At least I hope they would, like I do. You probably don't know this, but I'm a super easy when it comes to this. I put it very simple, as I know it's substantial investment for many people. So if you didn't get your money's worth 10 times over, 100 times over from my training, I don't want your money. If you're not ultra satisfied with your investment at the end of my training, I'd issue a refund for sure, so there's no risk for my students whatsoever. Although, as transparent as I am, I gotta tell you that it's a bit sneaky and not a very big risk for me at all doing it that way. Since nobody ever asked me for their money back at the end of the training, I take no risk here really, okay? But it does comfort my potential clients early in our relationship, so they know that if it turns out too good to be true, they wouldn't lose anything. You know, I get it. I've been there. There are far too many crooked people out there promising the world to us through their fancy advertising and delivering far less than promised. We do it other way around, which is why we don't even have clients. Instead, we have raving fans, followers that become lifelong friends and an ally in transforming the world around us for better. So do it for whatever reason you value. Just do it, is my advice. And I don't even care who you do it with. Seriously, do it with me, don't do it with me, it doesn't matter. Do it with anyone that you have in front of you, in your life right now, and who you can see yourself doing it with. I'm only here to help you, guide you, and serve your purpose. I'm serving you, I'm serving our industry by sharing the much needed knowledge and clarity about what works and what doesn't, okay? So, my heart thanks you for being excited about this path, for taking action towards your dreams, for inspiring others, for caring about yourself and the world. I sure hope to meet you in person and serve your purpose further. Your interest in helping yourself, helping others, inspires the very core of my being, and for that, I deeply thank you. Alright? As always, step up, take action, create, live. Goodbye for now. Thanks for having me, and may you find what you're seeking outside, inside of you. With all my love and gratitude, till we meet again. Ciao to everyone. Ciao, Jason. I know we went over time. I'm fully aware of that. This was a good one, though. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for asking me to do this, and thanks for caring and listening.
Thank you, Robert. What an awesome time I had. And I know my guys feel the same. Just from the text that's still coming in, thank you for your time, for your energy, for what you do in this world. You've got me inspired, that's for sure. And I can tell you right now, I have no interest in changing my career. But I will join your training for all those personal reasons you talked about. I simply have to do it for me, you know? Thanks, Robert. Thank you guys for joining us on the webinar. Much love. Speak soon. And everybody take care. Thanks. Bye.